Hey guys, it's Laura. As I've started working with people on their health and fitness goals, the topic of consistency has been on my mind. How do you stick to a goal that you set for yourself? What does it take to be consistent? How do you make consistency attainable? I think it's safe to say that we've all had goals that we didn't achieve. And here's your New Year's resolution reminder. Where are you on the goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year, if that's something that you did? Have you given up? Are you still working on it? Let me know in the comments down below. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the things that make staying consistent so difficult, and then we'll shift into what you can do to make it easier, attainable, sustainable, all that good stuff. So when you're trying to find consistency, there are a few major pitfalls. The first one that comes to mind is focusing primarily on the goal or the outcome itself rather than the journey or the process that's going to get you there. It's easy for us to fixate on where we want to be, but sometimes we forget to think about how we're going to get there. Let's say that somebody wants to lose 50 pounds, potentially a great goal, but what matters most are the actions that you're going to take to get yourself there. And this can lead directly into another pitfall, setting goals that are too big or too broad. Sure, these goals are good to have in the back of your mind, but if you don't break them up into bite-sized pieces, into smaller goals and smaller milestones, you may feel like you're looking up at a giant mountain wondering how the heck you're gonna get up there, when really if you focus on putting one foot in front of the other, it will be more attainable. And sometimes we set too many goals for ourselves. Maybe you want to lose weight, start a podcast, write a book, get promoted at work, improve your relationship with your spouse. These are all great things, but if you're focused on all of them at the same time, you're likely going to experience failure and burnout. And we might even set timelines that are too aggressive. If you're having to take drastic measures to achieve a goal, it's probably a good sign that what you're doing isn't sustainable in the long term. The last major pitfall that comes to mind is what I like to call the all or nothing approach. Maybe you've been that person when trying to stick to a diet. You're doing everything right, but then you go out to eat with friends, you realize, oh my gosh, I broke my diet. Well, I might as well just go all in because I've already screwed up for the day. We've all experienced one or even all of these pitfalls before. And guess what? It's okay. You're human. It doesn't make you less of a person. But there are things that you can do to avoid these pitfalls moving forward. But before we move into how you can improve your consistency, go ahead and hit the like button down below if you've experienced any of these pitfalls before and want to set yourself up for future success. So how do we make consistency more attainable? How do we make it easier to achieve our goals? When you first identify a goal you want to set for yourself, identify exactly why you want to achieve that goal. What is that goal going to bring you? What will improve or be more available to you if you achieve that goal? Your why needs to be strong enough on the days when you have low motivation. And motivation is another point that we should talk about. Where is your motivation coming from? Is it coming from within yourself or is it coming from an external factor? In general, internal or intrinsic motivation is going to be a lot stronger and more powerful than that external or extrinsic motivation. And don't bite off more than you can chew. Change is hard. It's uncomfortable. We're moving away from well-established habits and routines. The more changes you take on at once, the more overwhelmed you're going to feel. We really don't need to make things harder than they need to be. So we talked about not biting off more than you can chew and having a more manageable goal. But let's make that even more manageable and break it up into little bite-sized pieces. So focusing on the baby steps that you can make each day and each week towards your goal. Small incremental changes are much more manageable and tolerable than big obtrusive ones. Let's say that you've always had the goal to run a marathon and you're gonna do it, but you are brand new to running. My guess is week 1 is not going to look like running 20 miles every day of that week. No, maybe it looks more like running 10 minutes 3 times a week and then slowly increasing as you go. Slow and steady progress wins the race after all. Now here's one that's super important. Know that you're probably going to fail. In fact, you will fail. And it's okay. It is part of the process. Ideally, you're working toward your goal in a sustainable way. Life happens. Circumstances change. Things get in the way. I mentioned this earlier, but I think it's incredibly unfair that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and then we beat ourselves up when we mess up. Messing up is part of the process, and every time you mess up, as cliche as it sounds, it's a learning opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to reflect and ask ourselves, why did we mess up, and how can we move forward and stay on track next time? I also think perspective is really important to keep in mind. Sometimes we become little taskmasters and we focus on whether or not we did the thing that we said that we were going to do. But if you step back and you notice that things are moving in the right direction, you should celebrate that. So for example, let's just say that you're somebody who's trying to improve their sleep. So you know that one of the things that you need to do is go to bed earlier. You've been going to bed between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. on a regular basis, and you want to go to bed at 10 p.m. every night. So over the course of a week, you were able to go to bed at 10:30 3 times out of the week, and maybe 11:30 the other 4 times. Well, technically you messed up and you didn't meet your 10 p.m. goal any of those nights. If you step back, you'll notice that things are moving in the right direction. Things have improved. Sometimes you have to step back and see how things are trending in order to see progress, and that will also help your motivation. And if you're finding that you're not able to meet a goal that you set for yourself, it's a good indicator that you probably need to break it down further. So in this scenario, maybe setting the goal for 10 p.m. was a little too extreme for where you're currently at. That doesn't mean in the future you can't do it, but maybe focusing on going to bed at 10:30 4 nights out of the week and not going to bed past midnight is a good goal. And this really emphasizes that, yes, your goals should be challenging, they should be a bit out of your comfort zone, but they should be achievable. So that way you can celebrate the little victories along your journey. That's going to help keep you motivated. If you're going to set yourself up for success, and if you're going to find consistency, you have to be mindful of your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they supportive of the goal and the journey and what it takes to get there? Do boundaries need to be set up with particular people? How do you plan on navigating environments where it might be a little more challenging to stay consistent? Of course, there are going to be places you go, people you see, things that happen that may throw you off course. That's life. But being around people who support you, your goals, and how you're going to get there, that will help keep you in a positive mindset. They can cheer you on, they can help you when things get tough. It can also be really helpful to find ways to stay accountable. Depending on your goal, it might be helpful to have some sort of tracker that you update on a regular basis. Or maybe it looks like having friends, family, an online community, or even hiring a coach to help keep you committed. And this is especially important when we mess up and we need help getting back on track. And paying attention to your mindset might be the most important aspect of all. We all need to take an honest and realistic look at ourselves and what we're doing. Self-sabotage is a real thing, and our emotions can get in the way of what we're trying to achieve. For instance, if you're trying to lose weight, you're doing everything right, you step on that scale, and you notice that your weight has gone up by 2 pounds overnight. You might freak out and work out really hard and vow to eat as little food as possible over the next few days until you see that number go down. In reality, did you eat 7,000 calories the day before? No. Are you probably holding on to water? Yeah, probably. But when you're in the moment and you're facing a goal that's highly emotional, it's important to, of course, acknowledge your feelings and your emotions, but you also need to stay grounded in reality. And that can be way easier said than done. Overall, I think keeping all of these things in mind will help you stay consistent and allow you to achieve whatever goal you set for yourself. Consistency is tough, and it can be the #1 thing that holds you back. But it is absolutely critical in making long-lasting changes. So what pitfalls or tips and tricks did I miss? Let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!